And welcome to this edition of Waycross Magazine. I'm Dave Callaway, and we are with Steve Head out in almost downtown Waresboro. Steve, how are you?
Doing good, doing good.
If you followed Ware County athletics in the last 30 or 40 years, you remember watching Steve play back, what, in the early 80s, late 80s?
Late 80s.
Late 80s. Played basketball at Ware County and has just done a little bit of everything, but now you settled into making drums.
Yep. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how you got involved in. I'm not even sure the exact terminology of it. It's not a kick drum.
No, it's called a cajon. I started back in 2008 when I started the company, but it started out of necessity. I was leading worship on Wednesday nights at First Assembly, and a lot of times I didn't have a drummer, and I'd seen a guy playing an instrument called a stomp box. It's an instrument that you tap your foot on, and it gives you kind of a kick drum sound, and you can use it while you're playing guitar. And so I developed that and started selling them on eBay, and we sold so many of them I thought I'd start the company, and started Kopf Percussion in 2008, and started selling them on our website. And then I came across the instrument called a cajon, which is basically a box drum, and started building those, and over the next couple of years ended up making a name for myself with it. And now we have 29 dealers across the United States, Canada, even have one in Singapore, and it's really the Kopf name has become synonymous with the cajon drum, but specifically the cajon. And yeah, it started out in a small little shop, and we outgrew that, built this shop, and believe it or not, we're probably going to have to expand here because we've just about outgrown this too. But yeah, it's been an adventure, that's for sure. Oh yeah, and the name Kopf, eventually my last name's Head, and I'd thought about head percussion, but there's already a head drum company out in California, and I didn't want there to be any confusion there. So I just started looking at different translations in different languages, and Kopf means head in German. So that's how I came up with the name. Yeah, and our business is somewhat seasonal in the fact that summertime's really slow. It's like that with musical instrument and just in the industry as a whole. But in this time of year, around Christmas, November, December, January, that's when we're the busiest. And probably do around 30% of our business during the Christmas selling season. And we build everything right here. We don't import anything, which is kind of unique for the hand percussion industry. And we build everything by hand as well. We don't have there's no CNC machines in the shop. Everything's made by hand, one at a time. And every one of them is just, we have the standard lines like the drum that Lauren's working on there. It's a standard drum, but each one, because they're made by hand, each one's going to be a little unique. And the quality is what we're known for. I didn't want to try to compete with the importers, because you're never going to beat the importers at the importing game, because they sell everything so cheap. And but there's always people out there that's willing to pay a little more for a really high quality product, and that's what we aim for. We don't worry about the low end stuff. We'll let them handle that, and we just build the highest quality product that we can. This is from our Birch series. We have with our standard cajons, we have an S series and a Birch series. And this is from the Birch series, a Birch series snare cajon. Basically, it's a wooden box. It has a thin front plate. That's a 3-ply. That's a 3-ply Baltic birch plywood that's only an 1/8 of an inch thick. And it has a lot of resonance. We use the Russian birch. It's tougher, it doesn't have any voids in it, and just makes an overall a better product. Okay, basically the cajon is it's a box drum. It's of Afro-Peruvian descent, and basically the Cuban slaves would play shipping crates because they didn't have any instruments, and that's where the whole name, because cajon means box in Spanish. But the ones that we design, they have 3 different playing surfaces or areas. One is a bass, and then there's a mid-tone, and then there's a slap. And there's snares that we set inside. There's a certain way that we put them in there so that we have a separation, so when you play the bass you don't hear the snares, and then when you play the top you do have the snares, which is kind of what sets Kopf apart from some of the other ones. But basically you have a bass tone. It's not in the center, it's about 2 inches down. And then you have a snare tone. So you can play a simple 4/4 drum beat, something like that, or you can embellish it with a lot of ghost notes, like that. But they have 2 different sides. You can play the other side, it doesn't have snares, and then it's like congas and bongos.